Wow.
I mean, all I needed to do was turn it on, and the whole conversation could have been recorded right there. Like it. Oh yeah, it's rolling. I'm like, where is it? Yeah, just stay out of the sun. There we are.
Good morning. So, I like people. We like people. We've developed this habit, even, of treating people like people,
Yeah.
and not just somebody random that we're interacting with in order to get something that we need out of the moment. But I still haven't, I haven't changed that in the last 2 months. That hasn't changed for me to a point where, it's not at the same level that it's at for you. And I observe that in you, and I aspire to greatness.
Oh.
In all seriousness, though, you truly do, like, exactly like I wrote 2 months ago. You see people how God sees people. Everybody. And I don't completely have my head around that just yet.
Well, we have to remember that a lot of it is just the daily learning. Like that, I didn't even realize it was happening. And over time. So over time, I've just done it more and more, and trusted him more and more, and watched him work. That's really, like, I think that's like the biggest key, is seeing what God does through my correct focus,
right,
with people, and just being amazed over and over and over with what he does with that. And the more that has happened, the easier it has become to just do it all the time, really, without thinking about it. Because I want that. I want that for myself, and I want that for others.
Mm-hmm.
I should explain that. I want other people to experience the love of God that I carry, and that they need. And I want to experience God meeting them because of what it does for me. So, having that experience so many times has built in me this gift, this ability to do it automatically.
It's so... We talk about it like it's extraordinary.
Yeah.
But it's as simple as love God, love people. And, even beyond that, love people as you love yourself. And which, when you don't love yourself, you can't even get to that place.
Right.
And you can't really love yourself until you love God first and see yourself as his creation, who he loves.
Right.
And
I think that's the key.
It's as much, loving yourself is as much trusting God as it is even liking yourself. It's trusting that God's design and God's plan is perfect, and
you can receive his love because you understand how he sees you and why he loves you. Then it's a pretty simple next step to then love other people in that same way.
Right.
Because I don't deserve.
Because he made you also, and he doesn't make mistakes.
Right.
And if we love ourselves, we love each other as, you know, brothers and sisters, you know,
right.
God's creation, who He asked us to go love.
Right.
Because that's how we share Him, because He is love.
So to bring that to the application of today, there are people that you are going to see today. And the perspective is God brought you. God brought you here to see them. He wants to meet with them, so He brought you here to meet with them. Merchant Services is a sidebar.
Yes.
It's a sidebar.
Which is a focus that I have to have, because I cannot focus on that right now, because it's not the focus.
Right.
And so I have to keep the focus in the perspective of Merchant Services and whatever I'm doing.
Right. Whatever.
Because work isn't the focus.
Right.
But if you keep the focus in perspective through your work.
Yeah. I mean, I could tell stories.
Yeah.
Of so many things that have happened because I've been where I was and at the time that I was, and that my focus was just loving people regardless of what the task. The task was never an issue for meeting with people and loving them where they are. It was some of the stories I can tell are about even like how I felt about some people wasn't even conducive to like spreading God's love. You know, or I had a really big problem with someone at the hotel, for example. There was a couple that, I mean, they were yelling at me and stuff that wasn't even like real. What was like, it was so strange, and I felt negatively toward them for sure, and did not want to be there or be, you know, sharing with them or whatever. And very long story short, what it ended up being was that one of the two of them had just lost their dad. If I hadn't been able to put aside what I was feeling, I never would have found the truth. And then I was able to, or God, really, in spite of how I was feeling, God was able to meet that person. You know, anyway, that's just one story, but it was, I look back on that one and I learned from that situation to never let my ego or my feeling towards someone stop me from demonstrating God's love to them.
Mm-hmm.
Because I never know what's going on.
Mm-hmm.
And yet once I learned what was going on, of course I relate. I've lost my dad young, and I mean that turned into a situation where I was really able to love that person, and you know, I went from wanting to kick them out of the hotel literally,
mm-hmm.
to ministering to them, serving them, helping them, and yeah.
It's the exact same thing with our kids too.
Yeah.
Of not responding to where they're at.
Right.
And
wow, that's good perspective. Right.
Because it's all, you know, behavior comes from something that's inside.
Right.
and
what's
responding to the
it?
behavior doesn't do anything to
Right.
fix what's going on underneath.
Wow. Right.
And that's what we care about.
Yeah.
Because you can modify the behavior to be what you want it to look like, but unless you address the heart
Right.
and cultivate the heart, then the behavior is just a performance, and
Yeah.
it goes away as soon as the audience goes away.
Right.
Or they have to find, the audience, and just all the purpose and the perspective is not in alignment.
Good. This is good.
Oh, hi.